Welcome back. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to the mid-morning show with Molefe and you're of course with on Salam Media. As promised, we said we're going to talk activism again. I'm hoping that as we keep on talking about activism, it will awaken the sleeping giants in us as South Africans and just as human beings that things won't change until we do something. And as promised, we're talking to Lentswe, who was part of the group of activists who stood up against the poor regime of apartheid. And through their activism, we managed to move from the west to the better. And now we're here. And that Waalaikum salam. Hey, sometimes I always say you find that you're trying to introduce a person and you're actually going left. So now, personally, I prefer that a person introduces themselves as they see fit. I hope you don't mind doing that. I'm not putting you on the spot, but who is Lentswe Mokgatle, as you would want to be known and remembered?
Yes, I haven't done that before, but I'll try today.
Doesn't have to be a long one.
That's correct. My name is Mokgatle. I am South African and I come from the city of Bahuru and also live in the city of Mokgatle as well as the city of Bafo. Yeah, I was born in the 60s, grew up in the South early in my early years. I grew up in a family where my grandfather and grandparents were very senior. I grew up under the tutelage of one of my uncles that broke away from the ANC and joined the Pan-Africanist Congress. One of the founders eventually stayed morning growing. So I grew up in that type of environment. And by the time the consciousness came to me, I was already conscious in the family and had been involved in a number of activities. High school time, that's when we formed South African student movement. So was already formed. By 1930, when the students boldly challenged the apartheid, I was told I was working for the well-being. I can go on and on there.
Yes, so that's why I mean that, I don't think we're given a chance around to actually introduce ourselves and also just introspect how is it that we want to be known. But I think it's an opportunity for you also to just reconnect with you, to say who you are and where you come from. For that. Now, moving on, you did mention you were conscientized within your family, and it was under the banner of the Pan-African Congress, correct?
Yes, it was the beginning. But as I did, the family was a name. Yeah, they usually convey money locally and from the Pan-African Congress. One of them was my congress.
Now, when we move from there, then comes the years. Now you're conscientized, you were born, you're conscientized and grow up within this kind of family and environment. Then you decide on your own to be an activist and to push as much as you can with your fellow SASO people and others against apartheid. When did that start? In your high school years, or do you
Yes,
recall?
it started from my high school years when we formed the Activism.
Okay, so then this means we were having a conversation yesterday, so something is forming in my head to say you were actually also still you were a teenager when you decided to be active.
Definitely.
Hmm. And
Yes,
and now when you moved on, you found people who were like-minded and like-spirited, and you were part of SASO. You pushed on. Then
with,
fast, yes. So for
yes,
interjecting.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think that we put on primarily because we were further inspired by the new breed of leaders that came out of the student organization, Uncle Hero, Biko, and a host of us. And one of whom is very the former leader of Hope. So
Mm,
that was a crowd that
mm,
really played upon because we were challenging apartheid during the most tough period when
mm.
it was very, very dangerous. The
And
liberation organizations were banned, so they filled the gap. Yes, so
okay, so you're saying you saw the leaders who started, who initiated with the SASO movement, and of course coming from the Black consciousness movement, right? And you said after the banning of the organizations, then you saw a gap. There was a gap, and that's when you and your, I'll use the word loosely, comrades, because I hear some people are not, they don't like that word anymore because of what it stands for now, currently, but it used to mean a different thing then. And you took up arms, literally and otherwise, and you kept moving so that you can see liberation in your lifetime. Now, somebody mentioned that, um, once you drink from the spring of Black consciousness, then because everything was clear why people were doing what they were doing, it's almost like it flows in your blood, meaning the fundamentals of activism, of why you are doing what you're doing, will remain in your blood. Fast forward, people split and they go to different organizations. Others, even if the source was Black consciousness, they move to the ANC. Others go to Azapo. Others go to PAC. They split. And the years have also passed. Now I'm coming to the era where everyone has come back, or yeah, come back from exile, and now it's post 1994. Uh, and you see a need or a gap for people to converge who were originally part of the BCM movement, and that's where the 70s group was born. Can you tell us about that? What made you introduce us to the 70s group? Because that is now the current. We spoke about the you then and what inspired you and your movement. And now you are here, you are older, but you're still an activist because it's in your blood. It's a gazine. You can, it's you. Now there's the 70s group. Can you tell us about
yes,
who the 70s group
going,
is?
going, yeah, growing up with that background where every part of the liberation struggle is found within my blood. I never really got to understand why people who were fighting a particular enemy had to split into different categories, even beyond 1994. I was a strange one in that I communicated with everybody. People were surprised. Is this man seeing? Is this man Agapo? Is this man not ANC, etc.? So it became very important for me to make sure that the differences of the past, because I was in exile, came back and learned that at some stage, uh, people were fighting against the Darfur, etc., etc., and exile, CNA, people were not in good books with one another. So I felt it was very important that we bring people together. That's when we formed the 70s group, bringing people from Mmagauta or from Black consciousness from the AC and from PAC into one sort of a think tank, one formation that will help us see things with a higher consensus. In that way, hoping that we'll find a common road to travel on and, and carry our children and our grandchildren onto that path, away from the path of division. That was the purpose of forming the 70 group. Unfortunately, quite a number of outstanding people in the country saw the importance of the, the line we're pushing, and a number of them being part of the 70 group. Next, sometime in the future, we'll go into the details of
Okay.
who actually is doing the 70 group.
Okay. So with the 70s group, the aim was to bring people together who were once active together, who were once fighting together and seek freedom together. That was the aim then. And now the aim, what was, they always say that the revolution, there's always a revolution. The only thing is that it changes face, you know. Then you were fighting for something. Now you found the need to come together and of course be active again. But what were your eyes on? What were you looking at? What value would the 70s group add to the building of this nation?
um, two streams of thought. Basically, one, if you have all these people that have been engaged in the struggle, you're bringing in a whole history, a whole library, and you are able to advise those who were not involved during the past of the ways of dealing with problems. But at the same time, one was looking at bringing together the young ones who are able to understand the need for unity, bring them together and advise them on the future. Because the future is there. If you don't do that, you are going to build a future without the roots.
Mm.
Um, so the journey is still long. We started. We have not moved much, but I'm hoping that with people like you, Molefe, and others, we can take this thing into the future. The currently, the 70 group is led by very old people. Um, my prayer is that we should hand over to the young people so that they are able to deal with problems that are currently facing all of us. I can't run the same pace that I used to run. Yeah, but young guys can run. And while they are running, they can carry us old people along. Yeah.
Okay, so that's I can see the intergenerational vision or aspiration of the
Yes.
70s group, where and Tate Elvis Mabane spoke of the baton, how the generation before the Bikos and them handed to them, and now it needs to be handed to the others. So that's exactly what you're hoping for. That with
That's my prayer.
So I hope this gets out to the young people. to say, only if you act will things be done. And carrying over, in accounting, there's this balance carried over. We have a balance carried over of people who were there, and that can sort of guide us. But at the same time, also we bring value to that movement. If there's a young person who's listening and asking themselves, how can I be of assistance or support to the 70s group? How can they do that? You can say top 3.
How can they be of assistance or
Yes,
support to the group? One, they must identify themselves by linking up with the 70s group. I don't know how they're going to do that. The details can always be made available
Okay.
one way or another. You will advise someone. And then two, the the purpose. What is the purpose? The purpose is really to build a country of the future. That is diametrically opposed or different from where we come from. The economic system, unfortunately, was very deep into the current setup. It is a terrible economic system. It leaves out the majority of the people. That's why the bulk of the people in South Africa were poor are black. So the politics of unity is a new economic system. And then going also into the future, a new vision, a new country. But it can even go beyond that. You need spaces such as the social within South Africa. You bring all these countries together. You need a pan-African solution to Africa. Because whatever you do, the enemy will always find us divided and will divide us further.
And you mentioned history because you and the much respected elders are a walking encyclopedia and history books for as long as Allah permits and keeps you with us. You need your stories to be told, written or audio. And I would personally just say and add to your points and reach out to the youth, starting with me. I consider myself youth. It's allowed most. To say whoever has the skill, and as you said, because we've got the energy compared to you now who have walked already, and you depend on our energy. Anyone who is willing to be part of the journey of the 70s group, we will share on Salam Media their website if Ntate Lentswe doesn't have already, so that you can get in touch and see how you can offer your youth in alignment with the purpose and vision of what Ntate Lentswe mentioned. Now, Ntate Lentswe, wena as Ntate Lentswe Mokgatle, ne? You have seen people who initially started with the 70s group, and fast forward, there are no more. Sadly, there are no more. They are gone. Bontate Rams, Ramokhopa, and Lebabang. What is it that you would have wished to have happened before they could cross over, as far as the 70s group is concerned?
Yes. I would have loved to, to have a podcast of the various individuals that is so many members of the 17 group because of the age that has on from novels to other more physically to you can name them. And we needed writers that should have sat down with them and interviewed them. recorded their story, and then with this very brilliant craze nowadays called podcast. We needed something like that. It seems to be interviewed. That's part of the record. This is what people in future will be referring to. On areas, uh, um, for example, we have a very serious change in the geopolitical. It will be very important to have all these old people to give their opinions about what's going on. That may help people to think differently, what to be done, etc., etc. But this is for the likes of you, and Salam Media, and all the other people, Mama Lisa. Something that I've been avoiding to say it is personal, but I'm going to say it because I may not have another chance. Uh, your family and I, your father and I come along with your father was about 3, 4 months older than I am. And we were together in prison in 1976. Very, very brilliant, very heroic fellow. Um, yeah, and extremely brave. So the story of Kabosi, who there's a street named after him in Victoria. But people just see Kabosi, who they don't know the story of the person. So the young ones are can come forward, who can write, interview and write, so that we put together this, document our history. In the process, because we are very old, when you ask us questions, you'll be reminding us of all these many things that we have forgotten about ourselves. That's me, Molefe.
It's very important. I agree. It's important that we get to hear and capture the emotions, the words, the thoughts, and just tap into all these brilliant minds that I'm always in awe in how intelligent, how all-rounded you and your comrades are, because you still are able to live your life in spite of all these unresolved feelings and tortures and traumas, but we're hoping that through the bridge that can be, that can be used between the generations, that we are able to capture that for you and for us and those after us. And with that, I think I'm going to wrap up Ntate Lentswe, and you introduced the 70s group quite well. I'm glad, because now people know what the 70s sort of, they know the name, and it's on us now to go and find out how can we get in touch and what can we do to be of assistance and act as well. Re a leboga, Mohurutsi. Thank you for your time and for sharing a bit fela of this history that has got so many gaps. Re a leboga, and we're hoping that we can take on what you have just asked somewhere out there or just here. Re a leboga, Ntate Mokgatle.
Thank you, Honorable Helen, and thank you to Salam Media for this opportunity. I hope there's more of this type of opportunity for other members of the challenges to come and speak. Thank you.
Diwetse, Mohurutsi. And that was Ntate Lentswe Mokgatle. A lot of history just in one person, a lot of history. And we're hoping that we can do our part in capturing it. As a Sankofa, just to also remember where we come from, not to be dwelling on things as other people would say, but we need to remember. Memory is a weapon, as Ntate Don Matera said, and with that, we're going to take a break and we'll be welcoming Mmagauta, who's also of the same era as Bontate Lentswe Mokgatle.
Salam Media, your spiritual companion this Ramadan. In a world divided by crisis and detachment, let Ramadan reconnect us. Join Africa Muslims Agency to feed the fasting across the world. Donate an iftar box for 140 Rand, a monthly food hamper for 1,900 Rand, or feed a community for 20,000 Rand per day. From Gaza to Mozambique to Syria and more, every meal creates a connection between human hearts and the divine. This Ramadan, nourish bodies and reconnect souls with Africa Muslims Agency.
Shimmer, sparkle, captivate. Nothing less than a masterpiece. Droplets of gold inspires precious design. Platinum bursts with intricate freshness, and every pure diamond becomes more than just a girl's best friend. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, where timeless dreams become a reality. Come to us. We tailor-make designer gold, platinum, and diamond jewelry. Trade in or remodel your old gold. Clad yourself with classy name-branded watches. We offer insurance valuation and free zakat calculation. Visit us at 534 Ridge Road, Overport, or call 031 208 9142. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, manufacturers of fine gold and diamond jewelry.
Across Sudan, starvation is tightening its grip. With rising food prices and widespread malnutrition, 8.7 million people are now facing emergency or famine-level hunger. As the conflict intensifies and aid routes narrow, families in Sudan are running out of options and time. The Al-Imdad Foundation is delivering life-saving humanitarian aid to those most at risk. Stand with Sudan. Donate online at alimdad.com or call 0861 786 243 for more information.
The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "Use the black seed, for indeed it is a cure for every disease except death." This Ramadan, honor that guidance. Tip Black Seed supports your blood sugar during fasting, boosts immunity, sustains your energy from suhoor to iftar. Available at leading pharmacies. Tip Black Seed, your golden drop every day.
Many of us take an iftar meal for granted, but not everyone is as fortunate. This Ramadan, the Islamic Dawah movement will provide meals to thousands of Muslims from disadvantaged areas, as it has been doing for over 20 years, but they need your help. A donation of 30 Rand provides an iftar meal for a fasting person. Become an IDM sponsor and earn Sadaqah Jariyah. Zakat, Fitra, Kafara, and Fidya contributions are all welcome. Call IDM on 031 304 6883 or visit idmsa.org to donate. IDM, taking Islam to as many hearts and homes as possible.
You are listening to Salam Media live from our headquarters in South Africa. This is Salam Media, keeping you company this Ramadan.
Assalamu alaikum, Dumelang, welcome back, Dumelang, Abusheni. I don't know, I always gravitate towards Tsonga and Setswana, and I'm Tswana, but anyway, I'm an African child, so either way. Welcome back to the mid-morning show with Molefe Sihume, Salam Media, and I hope you're still with me. I'm fully with you. We had Lentswe Mokgatle earlier, and we were talking about the 70s group and his history briefly. And to complement that conversation, we're going to talk to Mmagauta Molefe. You know, there's always this face of activism and face of, I'll say that historically, that, you know, bontate mang mang, re mang mang, you know, but actually, bo mebarena were there. Our mothers were there, our aunties were there. Directly, indirectly, but they were there, you know, and Mmagauta was one of them. And she still is active, by the way. You know, that's the thing about this generation. They still are trying to do something. Every time they see some injustice, some unfairness in the system, they are always there to try and correct, in their own way. Mmagauta, dumelang.
Dumelang, also, Dumelang. Although the volume is so low, I put my phone on maximum, but I still can't hear you properly.
Can you hear us now? Is it better or the same?
A little better.
Is it a little better? Do you want us to, can we talk still at this volume?
Are you able to increase it a little bit again?
Okay. We want this to be heard properly.
Yeah, now I can hear you. Yeah.
Now you can hear us.
Yeah,
okay, yeah. Perfect. Because we can't afford because these are important things, hide and seek, and these are things we don't want to miss. Yes. Litsuhile. Alhamdulillah. We are alive and grateful.
Right.
Yeah. So earlier we spoke to Ntate Mokgatle, to Ntate Lentswe. And yes, we were talking about the 70s group, wanted to know, like the vision, where it comes from and why and the hows, and we got that part, and we know that you were part of that movement, of that vision, of the first steps of 70s group, and actually even the first men core group of that of the 70s group.
Yes, I was.
Yeah, so take us through maybe the type of conversations you and Ntate Lentswe had before the 70s group could actually be formalized. What is it that you agreed on that propelled the sense in you that, we need to actually have this kind of group and do something? What kind of conversations did you guys have?
Sure. Basically, I was organizing a gathering myself here at home of elders where I thought we could meet, and then part of it was to also have poetry and jazz and all that. So as we were talking, Lentswe was also having the same idea of inviting people to his house so that we can get together and talk. So that's how we started talking. And then in the end, we conceived this idea that why don't we form a gathering? We didn't know what to call it, but it was people of the 70s, because what we realized that the history of the 70s was like hidden. Nobody was talking about it, and yet it was an important era of the struggle. So we thought all those people can come together, share ideas, and see how they can contribute to the development in the country, and also talk to the youth so that they can learn from us. We can also share, and then they can be able to take over and run with the battle. Basically, not personally, I felt that we abdicated our role for a long time because we believe the new dispensation would be able to improve things. So if we had done this earlier, I'm sure it could have helped us. So that was the main reason, to get all the group, the people who were active in this, and 99% of them were working under the Black consciousness philosophy. Even now, actually, they had gone to different organizations, but basically their base had been the Black consciousness. So that history was not clear, was not spoken about, was not written. Even some of the people who were active in the 70s didn't even mention that in their history, to say, I'm from the PPC or SASO. Only a few of them acknowledged that. But for us, that was important. And that's how then, whereas we discussed as a group, then we eventually formed what we call the 70s group.
And what was the response from, considering that people had scattered and split, others remained in exile, and others had joined other organizations, and BCM, as it was known, it wasn't an organization, people wanted some form of vehicle to show activism further, joined other political parties. And then that also I noted as I was growing up, it brought a lot of fights among people, even if the original plan was the same, freedom in a lifetime. What was the response? Fast forward after all that painful era of killings and everything, what is it that, what was the response from the people that you reached out to?
In the beginning, we got very mixed reactions because there were hostilities between some of the people. There was fear of the unknown because some people felt that because they had crossed to other political organizations, they would be rejected. So we were speaking to people. We collected telephone numbers. We explained to people. A lot of people were suspicious. There were even rumors that we are forming a political organization, which we were not. So it was difficult, but there were people who bought the idea. First go, when you call them, they thought this was an important development. And then there were people who came in doubting, who join and then they will resign. And just because I called I was getting a lot of calls, a lot of questions. I remember even being contacted by a radio station or a journalist who was saying, here you people are forming a political organization, So we were having that. And amongst us, because there were people who fought wherever they came from, especially those who came from exile, who fought from different organizations. We did not trust each other. They were very suspicious. And even we at home, some of us who suffered from different parties, we really had to soften up and look at what is it that we want to do with the parties. And the hostilities had to be put down. It was very difficult at the beginning. Even the conversations in the chat group that we formed, some of the conversations were not good. Because some people didn't know other people, so they just used to attack them for no reason. There were people who thought they were superior, they knew everything, especially because we are from the ruling party, and they thought people were forming this to oppose the ruling party. It was very difficult, but eventually, and then it got to order, especially that we had a workshop at VET where we discussed the objectives, the aims, and things that we wanted to do.
Okay, so if I may interject, Mama, because now you're getting into the crux of things. Before we can talk about the VETS episode and the objectives, let's go for an ad break, and then we come back and we take it from the objectives and all that.
Salam Media, your spiritual companion this Ramadan.
Kids these days are smart, and when you're competing for their attention against their smartphones, you need to make smart choices, like using Sunfoil triple refined pure sunflower oil in every meal you make. It's naturally cholesterol-free and approved by the Heart and Stroke Foundation as part of a balanced eating plan. So whether you're cooking, frying, or baking, you get the great tasting results that'll get their attention faster than the latest app. And if that doesn't work, change the Wi-Fi password. Sunfoil. Now we're cooking.
Discover the Africa of your dreams and surround yourself with her spectacular beauty. Relax beneath her serene sunsets and explore wildlife at its natural best. It's where the pride of Africa comes together. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve. Get to know the Big Five or cruise on an elephant safari game drive. Interact with lion and tiger cubs and enjoy world-class halal cuisine while we pamper you during your 5-star stay. Indulge in the true African experience. For reservations innovations. Call now on 042 203 1400 or visit kwantu.co.za. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve, the place of gathering.
World-class financial services only at Sapphire Global, your financial partner. If you are looking for Islamic, Sharia, and ethical financial products, look no further. Sapphire Global offers a wide range of financial service offerings from short-term to life and investments. A full-service center with all financial requirements under one brand. Our highly skilled and experienced consultants are ready to help protect your financial future. Contact us on 041 001 0184 or visit our website on www.sapphireglobalfs.com. Sapphire Global is an authorized financial services provider.
Freedom Stationery supply Marlin and Marlin Kids pens to me and my school friends. They supply just about everything we need to help us get a better education, from books to files to rulers. In fact, any any accessory we need. Freedom Stationery. Education for the nation. What does accessory mean?
You are listening to Salam Media live from our headquarters in South Africa. This is Salam Media, keeping you company this Ramadan.
Welcome back to the mid-morning show with Molefe. We hope you've been enjoying the conversations we've been having. We are with Mmagauta, Molefe, and we're talking about the 70s group. If you didn't know about it, now you've got a bit of insight, and also that it exists, and now it's for you to know what does it do. Mmagauta, Molefe, welcome back.
Yes.
You're still with us. So now, yes, let's carry on from where we left off, which is now the workshop adverts, where you are looking at the vision and the house and just adding some flesh to the skeleton. You tell us about that.
Yeah, let me, before we even go to objectives and things, I want to talk about the need.
Okay.
In the first and the second, the first original meeting and this first meeting. It was such a reunion of old comrades who had worked together in their youth. So some people had not seen each other for 30 years, for 20 years. So people were excited to see people, even if they belong to different camps. But to see other people that they were just reading about in papers and all that. So that's what contributed to the success of the discussion. Because people were remembering things that happened when they were together in the 70s, when they were together in the 20s. So that kind of move improved the discussions that we had. So we had high hopes that we would contribute to the things that are happening in the country. We'll be able to have intergenerational interventions. But one of the main things that we decided was that we'll have the youth, that is our children, be the ones who are in the 70s. You know, they must be the ones who are directing the programs. They must be the ones who are in the executive. This is what we wanted. So our aim was to recruit the youth to run with the 70s, because we really some we passed ourselves by date, although intellectually we're still there, but the youth still had the energy to do a lot of things. And that is what we were trying to do. And then we targeted certain youth. Some of them got on board, some promised, and then they didn't. They were not able to continue.
So the intergenerational dialogue is a big thing for the 70s group.
Yes, it was supposed to be a very big thing,
yeah. Would you say that you have, at least, even if it's not as much as you would have hoped by now, but would you say that steps in the right direction have been slowly taken like I say, maybe the pace is not as much as you want, but has there been some developments, whether as individuals of the 70s group or as the 70s group and institution?
For me, I think personally, well, I don't know if it's correct to voice this because I mean in Manco, actually we are stagnated. We are talking international issues and other issues. We're not focusing on what is happening in our country, and we don't take action. Whenever we pick up on an issue that we're supposed to talk about and take action, we don't get good response. So perhaps it's a sign that people are tired. I don't know. But for me, we're not really doing what we wanted to do. So we've just become a chat group. Although we have very good people, who can analyze things and come with solutions. But as a group, we don't do much. That is my observation.
May I just give you a bit of hope there? I don't think you are just a group. Getting people from different political organizations with the history that we have, I think that's a major, major milestone within the country itself. That I feel is something it's a milestone and worth celebrating. I think that is major. That's number one. So from what I see and I hear, it's that there needs to be now, with this kind of formidable group and with what you've achieved, bridging gaps of political parties. I think it's a question of now moving on to the next, now moving to the vision and how it can be done. And I'm hoping that, I know there's been some things that have been happening individually, but I'm hoping that you don't despair, because what you've done, the first thing that you've done is really a major thing in our country. So hold on to that, and it's in our hope that someone out there is listening, or some groups out there are listening, and it will fall on the seed will fall on the right kind of soil, where somebody resonates with this and says, I hear what you're saying and I'm young, and this is what I can offer.
No, you are right. You are right, because individual members are doing a lot wherever they are. They belong to certain groups. They work. We do see that a lot of them have kept the spirit of activism alive, and we see them commenting on other things. So for us, that is a good thing, because people are not just lying low. So that is an encouragement, as you say. And some of the youth who are still with us, they are also active. They also contribute. It's just that we are moving, for me personally, I think we are moving very slow. But that's what I can say. But I'm not giving up on the group. Also, when you want to learn about a lot of things that are happening here at home internationally, there's a lot of information that you get from some of the people that you would not get if you were not a member of the chat group. So we are contributing in a way, just that we're not really moving fast with the objectives that we have planned.
Yeah, no, I think mine, to wrap up the conversation, thank you so much for that insight and just a clearer view of the 70s group. What was the aim? What still is the aim? And what can help to, keep moving and achieve these goals? What I would say in wrapping up, Molefe, is that I think the main thing is to just keep the vehicle moving, is to keep the wheels rolling so that they don't stop, because you have started, just like the BCM, some things are a movement. Some things happen over time, and our relation with time also depends on age. There's agency, because the people who have this history, who live through the history, who are the history, are slowly passing on, one by one. They are, but at the same time, those who are left behind, just to keep the vehicle moving, because somewhere it will gain momentum, just like any other moving vehicle. Somewhere, somehow, it does gain momentum if it finds the right passengers. And we're hoping that you will find the right passengers, especially as far as youth is concerned. And we thank you for what you have done. And we also thank you for always being willing to talk to Salam Media and give us some insight and knowledge and first-hand information about things that nobody else could get out there. Thank you, Ma.
Thank you. Thank you for getting me on air. Thank you.
You must keep well. And that is Mmagauta Molefe, who is a very significant puzzle of where the 70s group started, from conceptualization to being, and now they are quite impatient with actually achieving their goals. We hope one way or another, somewhere, something will happen. But yeah, we're grateful. And with that, we're going to go for a break, and after that, we'll be having our competition.